Everybody who are watching us on YouTube. We have our final graduation for OLS 4. That's Open Life Science fourth cohort. We've been with our mentees since September 2021. So this is the longest we have had a cohort with us, and we're very excited to see them graduate today. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and invite iNaturalist Data Explorer project lead Wai-In Kwon.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Wai-In. I'm a software developer who got interested in both science and programming after college. And because of my background, I'm interested in finding informal ways people can get involved in STEM. Hence my interest in open science and citizen science. Well, citizen science is part of the open science movement, and one of the goals of citizen science is broadens who can participate in science. Fortunately, one of the limitations of it is that oftentimes for the citizen science projects, the steps after the data collection, such as analysis, discussing the results, and publishing the results, is not accessible to a community scientist. So is there another alternative? So iNaturalist.org, it's a citizen science project that asks people to take photos of the nature around them. And so far they have almost 2 million users and who have taken over 88 million observations. So for Open Life Science, I wanted to create a website that let iNaturalist project organizers upload their data and education materials so that to create an interactive data exploration experience for their community scientist. And my idea was that if you can give them and the community scientists enough information to explore the data that they collect, it would pique their curiosity and allow them to come up with questions on their own and show them more about how science works. So it's time to do a demo of the site. So for the beta phase of this project, I worked with 4 different project organizers. One was from the city of LA, a high school teacher, high school biology teacher, a graduate student who has projects in Lima, Peru, and the education coordinator at the University of Minnesota field station. So for each project, they will be able to upload some custom information about their projects and their data. So all the projects, the data and the taxa will be customized to their iNaturalist observations. For Cedar Creek, they asked their citizen science to take a lot of pictures of paw prints and scat. So that's why the pictures of like dirt. And for the also want to create an interface where citizen scientists can look at biodiversity data and environmental data. So people can, either search by the common name or Latin name, or preload some data sets. So as you can see multiple different species at the same time, both in maps and in charts. And a common theme that our project organizer wanted was for the citizen science to look at the changes over time. So you can group the observations by month to look at changes in monthly and by year to see patterns, see if they notice any patterns. And you can click each of these off to turn off on and off observations on both the map and the chart. And we also have environmental data, like temperature and precipitation, to see if they notice any correlation between the environmental data and the biological data. And for each species, there's going to be, it's a mix of automated data that will be auto-generated and customized data that will come from the project organizers. And they can, each project organizers can provide a description that is specific to their project and locality. And I have one project in Peru where the organizers are actually going to provide the information in Spanish, which is helpful for her community. And in addition to the images, you can also do them by months, group the images by months and year. So you can see in December, it snows a lot in Minnesota. And we can also have other information here. And I think the other big thing they wanted to get people to think about is not just think about the species that they took a photo of, but how these species interact with other species. So we grabbed information from global biotic information and present that on the site. So there goes the demo of the site. And back to the slides. So the main takeaways was the importance of cross-discipline collaboration. I, as a web developer, could not build this site by myself. And then as, you know, in their roles as scientists, couldn't build the site themselves. It took that collaboration to make this possible. And one thing that I learned about as a web developer was, how do we create an interactive, sustainable site with zero budget? So I had to host this thing on GitHub because GitHub is free. So that's all. I think this is one of the fancier GitHub projects that in this cohort. And the next steps, update the pages for the existing projects. As you noticed, there was a lot of Latin gobbledygook on the existing pages, but that will be replaced with real data. And we will get feedback from the citizen scientist. And after that, I don't know. It'll depend on, the idea is if you provide this interaction for citizen science, will they actually be interested? So we'll figure that out later on. And I would like to acknowledge all the people that helped me on this project, from both the project organizers and the Open Life Science team, and my boss, who actually let me take time off of work to work on this side project during working hours, which is really nice. And also like to thank all the people, projects who provided the data, the mapping, and the software that made the project possible. And that's it for me. Thank you.
That was incredible. Thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause, first of all, and some virtual claps. There are some really beautiful comments. First of all, love how diverse your projects are. Very impressive to see how this whole web page have been maintained to allow people to visualize. So I assume that one of the places you would love feedback from is if people actually like all these things that you've integrated, and if it's worth maintaining them for the long time. So another comment is that someone is already an iNaturalist user and they think it is really cool to look at it, love the mapping and charts, and also localization, including Spanish observations. So there are a few questions. One is, how did you decide which data visualization to use? Are there other visualization you want to add in the future?
Do I answer them here or on?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Oh, okay. I think I picked the easiest data that I could understand. So it's bar charts and, you know, counts. There are more complicated things, and that's what I will talk to each organizer about, to customize charts that they will be able to explain to their users. So if they want to do more fancy charts, they will have to do the job of explaining it, because as you know, data literacy and data visualization literacy is an issue. So that's why I stuck with the simple things for now that I think most people can understand.
Yeah, I love that. You're absolutely right about data visualization. Literacy is something that we all need to do and start somewhere. Thanks again, Ryan. That was incredible. I'm going to pass it to Emmy for the next two speakers.
Thanks, Malvika, and thanks, Wayne, for that wonderful presentation. I believe next we have Michael.
Thank you. All right, so I'm sharing my screen. I'm sure you can see my screen now.
Not yet.
Okay.
Oh, something's happening. There we go. Yep, we see the PowerPoint interface.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
you're in
so,
presenters mode. Perfect.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Michael Ni Adi. I'm a lecturer at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, which is based in Ghana, West Africa. And my Open Life Science project was on creating an open database for carbon footprinting of buildings in Ghana. So like I said, I'm a lecturer based in Ghana, and I work in the field of construction technology. My research over the years has been based mostly on the impact of building construction on the environment. And one of the challenges I have encountered is the lack of assessment of embodied energy of building materials on the environment. And mainly the lack of assessment is due to the fact that there's paucity of data on this this particular information. And we all know the impact of climate change. And you know, in Africa, there's also a high demand for infrastructure. All right, this is due to increasing urbanization and growing population. Hogarth et al. Has already averred that Africa offers one of the greatest potential for growth and subsequently change in the drive against CO2 emissions and climate change. So one of the problems I had encountered is how do I get data? How do I get information of various building materials? How do I get to know this their carbon footprint on the environment? And I had been in a particular network talking to some few people, and I came across the Open Life Science project, and I had a call. So I was brainstorming, and I had this wonderful idea. And the idea was to create an open database of embodied energy and operational energy for carbon footprinting of buildings. And this is going to be based on an open community approach. So it was a wonderful idea. How do I get people to come in to give us information? Because I realized that some people had information, but then it is not, it's not centralized, and everybody has his own information on his building, on this particular construction that has been done, right? So using the open community approach, we can build an open database, and this would help in developing the carbon footprinting of buildings, which would go a long way to, forestall the impact it has on the environment. So I came on my OLS journey having some goals and expectations. So one of the first things was to learn how to work on an open project, because this is one of the first open projects I've ever been on. How to acquire the skills needed to lead an open project, and how to develop a blueprint for the open carbon database. Because at the time I was joining the OLS, there was just an idea. So it was how to also learn how to do the project and how to develop the database. And then also go on to learn how to develop and manage the online community that will be feeding in various data to help with the development of the project. So on the OLS journey, there were a lot of tools that I personally came across. One of the major tools that I learned was the GitHub. So I used the GitHub to develop a repository. And it was quite an interesting journey for me. It was the first time coming, learning how to use GitHub. I'd heard about GitHub, but I'd never used GitHub. So we also learned about Open by Design. So I modeled my project along those lines. We developed a code of conduct, a license, and a roadmap. So I use all these things to help, enhance and develop my project. So, and along the line to meeting with my mentors and various individuals, I also developed a blueprint, to sort of have a structure which I can further move on to develop my my project. So one of the challenges I also had through discussion was what would be the best way to be able to collect information from various people, like professionals and stakeholders within my construction industry. And one of the things that we came across is to use the tools that are already similar or something that is, quite common. And one of the things that we realized was how they use the Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel is quite popular. So along one of my mentorship events, the Google spreadsheet was muted towards me, and I went on to develop sort of a blueprint for the project. So I have it on the screen. So it's still at its developmental stages. It's not it's not the finished product yet, so it's still in the process. So on my Google spreadsheet, I've added it in there.
Oh no, Michael, are you still there? It seems like we may be struggling with the connection a little bit. Just while we're waiting for Michael to reconnect. Thank you for all the comments coming from the YouTube folks as well. Oh, he's dropped from the call, unfortunately. But if you have any questions or comments for Michael, hi Michael, you're back. Thank you for your comments already under line 74 of the Etherpad, but please continue to leave lovely thoughts and questions for Michael. You are just coming back. I can see you now.
Sorry, my
Don't
network
worry.
went. Yeah, so I'll just about ending.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so the next steps, what I plan to do next. So first of all, I want to take a break. It's been quite a very stressful journey combining that with my faculty work over here. So yeah, I want to take a break. And it's also one of the things I learned from the OLS journey. You need to, at certain points, take a break. It helps. Okay, so from there, move on to finish developing the Google spreadsheet for my project, work on creating the online community, and apply for funding. Yeah, and the longer term tasks, what I'm looking at is further developing the online community via networking, advocacy. Looking forward to move it from a Google spreadsheet to a more of a web-based platform that people can share data. And then also expanding the scope, not only looking at Ghana, also looking at West Africa, and then finally looking at the whole of West Africa. Yeah, so where others can come in, one of the first thing I'm looking at is funding opportunities. So people could point me to various funding opportunities that are available. Then I work towards applying for the funds. And data management, I don't have training in data management. I'm still learning along the line. So that would also be a great help for me. Right, so acknowledgement goes to my mentors, Kate and Ivan. They were very, very helpful. All my meetings with them were very, very fruitful. And the various founders and people in charge of the OLS, then my university, and the friends I made on my OLS journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. That was wonderful. A round of applause. Sorry, you may have noticed everyone turned off their cameras, just so we may hopefully help. Maybe it helped save the internet.
Yeah,
that was wonderful. Also comments from your mentor, Kate. Great to see the your project on an open database for embodied carbon in construction in Ghana. And it's really clear and well explained project background as well. Maybe we can take one question in real time, if internet permits. What was really challenging about launching this project, Michael?
Well, I think the first thing was, being put in front of a lot of tools, in terms of open life science tools, how to network. There was Slack, there was GitHub, there was Spark Conservancy. So it was quite a learning curve for me. And then making time, because I had to combine that with my faculty work over here. Yeah, so those were, quite of the few challenges, because you had sort of most of the tools and resources available to you, but then you are not getting enough time to take advantage of all the tools and the resources. Yes.
Thank you for sharing that, Michael. And I just want to point out that that was such tremendous progress that you've made. It's so GitHub is, it could be an intimidating space, but it looks like you've learned a lot, and a well-deserved break coming up. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Next, Birche, when you're ready.
Due to some problems, I recorded my presentation.
Not at all.
Hope you can hear.
We can hear perfectly.
Okay. Can you see?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting.
Hello everyone, my name is Voltaire Vassal and I'm a Masters of Biology student at the University of Ulm in Germany. Today I will present my study, which is about analyzing OLS3 surveys. I started my project by learning art. What I'm trying to say by learning, like learning from scratch. Till this program, I have never performed an analysis or been involved in any kind of informatics before. Although I always wanted to learn, I was hesitating to start. When I saw this opportunity with the help of one of my friends, I decided to take a step this time. I assume you all have some background in coding, so I hope when I say it wasn't easy for me, you can understand. Learning something that was totally out of my league was a challenge for me. I had a journey started from how to write a code and continue with making graphs. There were good and bad times. I got lots of errors that I even didn't know what is the error or how to fix it. But with time, it proceeded well. I started by taking a look at the data, which were consisted of middle and post survey results of mentors and mentees, importing them to the R and reordering according to the R language was the first step for my graph. After searching and finding a nice pattern, I applied that to my graph. Till now, I didn't know that one little comma or parentheses can change everything, but obviously they can. Anyway, now I want to present some of the graphs that I made. I gathered 9 graphs shortly for the presentation. The first graph is from the mentee middle cohort survey. The question was OLS3 program is helping me work openly. 65% of the participants answered these questions as variable, while 30% said good, and only 4% answered as neutral. The second graph was about the evaluation of the aspects of cohort goals. According to the results, talks by the guest speakers, information before and after the call, and shared note-taking on the Google Doc are the best 3 aspects, while the written breakout room activities is the least one with 26.1%. Similarly, the third graph is about the aspects that can be improved within the cohort goals. With 30.4%, participants are thinking breakout room activities should be improved. This result is also compatible with the previous graph. The fourth and fifth graphs are about the communication way of the program. While mentees are thinking weekly emails from the organizer is the best effective communication way, 91%, and Google Groups for tracking weekly information is the least effective one with 17%. Mentors are thinking Slack channels to connect with others is the best effective communication with 81.8%, and Google Groups for tracking weekly information is the least effective one with 4.5%. The sixth and seventh graphs are from the post-cohort survey, and they are about the evaluation of mentor and mentee goals. While 74% of the mentees are thinking it as always useful, 20% is answered as mostly useful, and 6% are said somewhat useful. On the other hand, while 40% of the mentors are thinking it as always constructive, 23% is answered as mostly constructive, and 11% is as somewhat constructive. My last two graphs are about evaluation of mentees and mentors' experiences in OLS 3. While 66% of the mentees are achieved most of their goals, 17% of them achieve their all goals and also partially. On the other side, while 92% of the mentors are feeling supported and training offered in OLS 3 was adequate, 58% of them enjoyed their participation and did not find the experience overwhelming. To sum up, I applied to this program to expand my knowledge. I was thinking I can implement these new skills in my master's project in the future. However, before coming to that point, OLS and R helped me with my lectures already. Although still I'm at the beginner level, I learned a lot. OLS taught me how to work openly and how to use open resources. I learned a new coding program and planning to develop my skills more in the future. I am happy that I took that step and joined to the program. As last, I want to thank my mentors back for all the help, support, and her patience. Also to all the organizers, they were always kind, nice, and helpful. Thank you for your attention.
I'm not sure, did you hear nicely, but hopefully.
That we heard that perfectly. Thank you so much, Virtue. A round of applause and claps for Virtue's wonderful presentation. Comments, questions coming through in Etherpad. Just really love seeing this presentation come on, and the graphs are incredible to see. And as an organizer for OLS, I just want to say this data, like we wanted it since forever, these graphs, and you have helped made it real. So thank you for doing this. Means a lot to us. There was a question, if you want to answer that. What tips do you have for someone learning R for the first time?
That's a nice question. So, like, the most important thing I think is not giving up, because with lots of errors, it contains a lot of challenges. But when it's worth one, it's worth the try.
Thank you so much. Definitely perseverance and hard work. We're so glad to see that you're learning and applying R so fast. Just lovely to see. Thank you so much, Virtue.
Thank you.
With that, I hand over to Yo.
Thank you so much, Emmy, and thank you everyone who's presented so far. Thanks everyone on YouTube who is also channeling in some amazing comments. So we have like so much. I love our YouTube cheerleaders, fans right now. We've got comments about how useful the analysis is, Borcha, and how useful the graphs are, and about not giving up being such great advice. So thank you everyone for sharing all of this. Next up, we have Alejandro. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let me to probably ask if you can hear me well. Everything's okay? Yeah, it sends that everything's okay. Yeah, perfect. So hi everyone. I am Alejandro. I am postdoc at the Alan Turing. And this is the project that I was leading and still leading, and was thanks to the OL's core program that I developed this idea about the environmental data science book that is about showcasing reproducible environmental data science. So maybe for those that are familiar with environmental science, we have different systems in our planet Earth that are usually like collected plenty with many of researchers collecting information across the system and trying to understand what is happening in these different systems that we have. And it's here where with this illustration that I have in my right side, I was participating in one of the Turing Way Dash, my first one, but it was very productive because I have the opportunity to create this nice illustration with the artist. And in somehow I would like here to highlight that we have all these scientists in the left hand that are producing amazing knowledge and amazing stuff to understand our planet Earth, and including myself in doing that. But I found challenging for those scientists how they can communicate this science. So I am now more in the mid part and trying to help them to communicate this science to general audience, or also to have more reproducible environmental data science that other researchers can use. That for me was one of the problems that I have at the beginning. So that's the aim of the environmental data science book, like being a resource that aim to help with showcasing and supporting publication of data in a collaborative, reproducible, and transparent way. This was the conceptualization before the program. I was thinking more in an infrastructure way, and I will say like not consider a community, I will show later, but I was thinking to build upon existing communities that are producing open source software for environmental or geosciences. That one of them is Pangeo, is a large community. I was thinking that these notebooks that I pretend to help people to be interactable and shareable using JupyterBook, and reproducible using some technologies as Binder. But thanks to the program, I learned that it should go beyond the infrastructure, and I should work in a community. Also, one of the benefits of this initiative is that people can publish this kind of notebooks to general audience or for other researchers, but they will have more trust in publishing that because there is a collaborative reviewing behind that. And it's something that is gonna be known as a strict scientific like reviewing. It's more collaborative reviewing. And in that will ensure that we have a high quality in the publication. So at the end, we would like to achieve is not only this publication step, we are also organizing some co-working spaces to help environmental informatics or environmental data scientists to improve scientific software practices. Those are here, I'm just pointing one the most remarkable progress during the program. I provide guidelines, templates to help people to understand how to publish, and some templates of the different kind of topics that they can publish content in the environmental data science book. So far, we have published 5 notebooks that they were reviewed and they are online now. The website is like published or hosted by Netlify. At the beginning, it was in only GitHub pages, so it's something that I learned how to do during the program, during the OL's program. And as I told you, I organized some co-working like meetings, collaboration cafe that were very useful to discuss with the community certain like relevant topics in environmental science. Future work, at the moment I have plenty of these like nice interactive notebooks, but I would like to have more plain text that explain some background of what you can do with data science in the environmental research. I would like to be more global, so that's why I have the multilingual aspect and learning that through the Turing Way project, but I would like to apply to this project. I would like to have like people who can make citation of the world through persistent DOI, so I'm exploring technologies that are fitted for this kind of data that I'm using. One of this is an initiative of the European Horizon scheme, our research object hub. And finally, I would like to work more in the social networks and something that I'm learning, and I'm very happy. I see that here are people that have good skills on that. So and I already have a social network for this project, and also for technical start doing more in Git. So a big thank you to the open science community, to my mentor, Delphine, and all the organizers, the experts, the core, and in terms of the environmental DS community, the advisors that I have, and they are incredible advisors of these projects, the author reviewers, and some users that we have. These are some inspiring communities. And finally, you are welcome to contribute in different ways, the Twitter, the website, or the GitHub repository. Thank you, everyone.
That was incredible. Malvika, I'm taking the host would like you to unmute as I'm taking over from here. I've got nods. Okay, yeah, thank you, Alejandro. That was a really interesting presentation. We've got some great feedback coming through from YouTube. From Ariel, this is a cool project. Well done on pulling it all together. Kate mentions that she's really interested in the urban data systems section, especially. And then in the Etherpad, we have people commenting that publishing platforms and co-working spaces like mingled together is something that's really incredible and something I think that quite a few of us would love to see come true. And we have one question. So you've got these incredible notebooks that you've created over such a short period of time. Could you tell us about one of your favorite examples of these notebooks? We'd be really curious.
Yeah, I have all of them are gray. The first one, of course, was like quite like interactive, but at the moment, the latest one have more like, you will see more polished, more like real world, because I guess in the latest one, that is about publishing next week, I collaborate with scientists from the European Space Agency. That is at the moment at the project starts internal with some researchers and working in a current project at Turin, but now it's expanded to other institutions. And this is great because we have a very transparent discussion through review notebooks in my GitHub, and it's something that I'm trying to encourage to have in this kind of Jupyter notebook, people who would like to have this feedback, and people can see the change for the first draft until it is published. So I really like this last notebook because you can see all the process. And I guess will be the first notebook that I'm trying to associate research, a permanent link to this is something that I really like, and is about mapping ocean litter. So it's a very nice project that I'm helping researchers that are now, as I say, working with me in somehow directly external. Yeah.
That is incredible. Congratulations on building the external network connections. We also have some comments from Delphine saying great work, and in the chat, 21st Child and Sarah just saying they'd love to learn more about this. So great job. With that, I'm not biased at all, but I'm going to move on to one of my favorite mentees of my very own. Ceci, would you like to present?
Thank you for that introduction. Not biased at all, I could tell. So I'm Cecilia. I'm a neuroscientist from Buenos Aires in Argentina. And our project with the Open Life Science program is Talleres Open Source.
Just to let you know, we can see the speaker notes.
Oh, okay. We practice this anyway.
I know. Computers are mean. There we go. Looking good.
So you are reading ahead of me. Okay. So these are Talleres Open Source, which is a collection of workshops to empower the Spanish-speaking scientific community with practical knowledge about open tools for research to make working open the default status in Latin American science. So the way that the workshops work is that we started in 2020 with a group of colleagues and ran 8 workshops in each workshop, a tutor with experience in an open source tool, such as the ones that you're seeing here, Arduino, R, GitHub, Git. Each tutor taught about an open source tool to participants to show them how to use the tool to solve a specific problem during the workshop. So they would really get a feel for it and have interactive exercises and start to try it out by themselves. And the material is on YouTube. You can access it. You can download the problems. That is, if you know Spanish, because these encounters were all virtual and in Spanish. And the topics were based on the community needs that we had previously surveyed in our peers. So it was based on neuroscience, but some aspects of it are more general for science in or other life sciences, right? So the experience with those workshops allowed us to embark on a more ambitious project, a 5-day-long event that which we sent out kits to participants in 8 countries across Latin America, as you can see here, thanks to external funding that we got from the International Brain Research Association organization, the local Neuroscience Association and the government of the city of Buenos Aires. And this allowed us to train 25 students in open source hardware and software for neuroscience. And of course, this exciting step up from our virtual workshops needed to be matched by a more streamlined approach to our open practices. And a colleague and I joined OLS to help us think and implement these open practices by design. So our goals for the program as a group were to solidify our community by having a Discord server where everyone could interact, setting up open policies for this long workshop that happened in November. So personally, out of the OLS program, I wanted to work on interpersonal dynamics, so more communication of expectations within the project, a more empathetic leadership and striving for inclusiveness. And I really think the OLS program was a great fit for both the project goals and my own personal goals. And it was key to have these exercises to work on each week and have a guideline on how to approach these concepts practically. So for the work that we did, we worked with Yo as a mentor, as you know. We added things on our repo on our GitHub repo that might seem small, right? Such as a license and a code of conduct. But this reflects the time that we had to think about all of these things and the discussion that went behind them, right? And also the means to implement them with the little tips and tricks that we learned along the way. And also some arguments to reassure oneself that one needs to take the time to go ahead and do these seemingly small changes. Then, of course, the vision that I read at the beginning and the roadmap to be able to clearly express what the project is or isn't. And this really helped us to interact with some people more effectively, which we could introduce the project to much more effectively. And we did manage to set up our Discord server. Even though we need to work on building out the community, we at least have that server and a place to share and to talk about the workshops. Then on Expert Week, I was fortunate to talk to MOSFEST manager Sana Marsh, and she shared deep insights on how to lead more empathetically and the kind of work that she had done in these areas. And that was super helpful as part of a project challenge and my own personal growth. Through the cohort calls, I learned to have accessibility front of mind, like it's always there in the OLS materials, as well as inclusion, as opposed to thinking about those things after the event, right? So I think all in all, it was a great program. And of course, I love meeting many new people that had different projects with such a broad scope, right? So thank you, everyone. Going forward, what we're going to be working on is to publish our procedures and guidelines to be able to work more easily with contributors and volunteers. and make it maybe more or rather less reliable on the organizing team. So this can be a format that can be like self-sustained, and in that map that you saw be replicated and disseminated by other communities, which also part of the material in OLS was stuff that we passed on to our own students. And so thank you, Yo, and the rest of the organizing team. Thank you to my team members and volunteers, especially Alejandro, who couldn't make it today, but he participated in the program with me, and we discussed all of this together. So thank you, and the Kenas cohort as well.
Woohoo! Can we have a great round of applause? Thank you so much, Cersei, and thank you for everyone. Wait, I'm getting excited and overwhelmed, and I need to control myself and think straight. So, Cersei, we have some questions in the Etherpad, as well as some nice comments in the YouTube. So Kate mentions that the workshops sound really useful. I like that the tutors have a specific knowledge of community needs whilst combining remote and hands-on. And then one of the questions is whether you have a lesson that you learned in the process of sending kits across 8 different countries. I mean, that sounds exhausting.
Yeah, the lesson is don't do it. Don't ever do it again. No. Yeah, it's challenging at best, especially from Argentina, where we're from. But I guess the nicer lesson would be it can be done as teamwork. Everyone played their parts, and I had COVID when the kids had to be sent out, and the team took care of everything. So I can't really say, yeah, teamwork.
Yeah, a huge round of applause for teamwork, absolutely. And the fact that it managed to pick up when you have COVID, that sounds like such a challenge. Okay. We have a couple of notes. We love that accessibility and inclusion came out in the forefront. And we also, amazing to see open research tools being developed in Spanish for the Latin American community. My goal is at some point soon for OLS, if we can figure out how to get people presenting in the language that their materials are presented in, I would be so happy. Yeah, thank you so much. I think that's everything, folks. Everyone's presented. No one else has anything to present, I don't think. So in that case, we have 8 minutes left. Oh, group photo. So my beautiful friends, if you want your face to go into this photo, now is the time to have your camera on. If you do not want your face to go in the photo, now is the time to have your camera off, and both are fine. So if you make your very most OLS face, and in 3, 2, 1, I did it wrong. No, it's not yet. Hold on. Okay, right. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'll post that in the Lizana says OLS in Spanish. Count me in. I cannot wait. I'm gonna just post this into the Slack. That's OLS 3 graduation. Emmy or Malvika, one of you want to wrap? Because I'm just gonna get teary.
We all can wrap. Thank you all very, very much. It was so fantastic. You all deserve to take a break. And Michael, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, go and enjoy if you can, if you are at home or anywhere. Thank you so much. See you somewhere else or back in OLS.
Thank you, everyone. Rest.
Thank you.
Thanks all.